The way they walked in and used the young man's black and white calf to start. I think just in terms of presence and look, he just takes it to a different league compared to the gold calf behind him. I prefer him in terms of the set and flex and athleticism he has out of his rear skeleton compared to the one in second. I think he's a steer in terms of his look, his body shape's on point. I like the added feature he has to offer as well. You get on top of him behind him, he reads bolt sprung, he reads some shape and expression. I think that guy just in terms of his look, balance, and muscle takes it to a different league than the gold steer in second. The gold steer in second is still a good kind. He's not as soft hair or good in his hair as that black calf, so you gotta read through it. I'd like to tone him down in his tail head as well, but really you get on top of this steer, he's naturally big, extremely expressive in terms of his muscle. I like the turn of his rib up high as well. He offers some extension there and he ties his neck out of the top of his shoulder ultra attractively. We get him in motion now, and I just wish in terms of his hind leg assembly, he was a little bit better. He gets a little bit shallower heel, straighter in terms of his hock. Doesn't get out and just flex and go with the same athleticism as the steer that starts. That's still a good, heavy muscle calf. It's always going to be high cutability. Congratulations to you. Two nice steers. Let's give them a hand as they exit.
Results from Class 5 of exotic steers. In second place, Braden Wolford, and in first place, Braden Wolford. Let's give them another round of applause. Entering the ring at this time is Class 6 of exotic steers with exhibitors Macy Rankin and Madison Rankin. Let's welcome them to the ring.
Another nice pair of steers. We're going to use the young lady's cream cap to my left to go ahead and win it. I think both steers I'd like to change a little bit in terms of their build and athleticism, and they win, they get out and go in this particular set. I think just the yellow calf, when you get your hands on it, especially directly behind his shoulder, just opens up so much squarer and fresher in terms of his shape. He's a lot more dimensional and powerful there over his loin as well. He's a naturally bigger-ended and thicker hip calf as well, like from terms of muscularity and power standpoint. He's a steer as well and still offers some extension and look up front. I wish he was a little bit bolder in his forward. Wish he was a little softer in his flank and got out with a little bit more reach. I think I saw a little bit of swelling in his left hock. He could be cleaner there. That's being critical of a calf that's good in terms of his muscle handling quality. A nice balanced, good muscle steer to win. The black steer has some added length of neck. It's got some added substance of bone. I probably prefer her in terms of his rib shape and softness there through rib and flank. He's just so when you get on top of him and study the upper part of his cage, it's pretty flat and concave compared to the steer that's going to win. Because of that, he gets a lot narrower and nondescript in terms of his muscle there directly behind his shoulder. He can be a little bit bigger in terms of his pin set as well. But he's a steer I'd probably prefer a little bit more in terms of his build and his hind leg, like his body shape, the look, a nice calf go. You've done a nice job of him.
Results from Class 6 of exotic steers. In second place, Macy Rankin, and in first place, Madison Rankin. Let's give them another round of applause. At this time, we are going to have our champion drive for our exotic steers. In the ring, entering the ring, we have Colton Tudhope from Class 4, and Braden Wolford from Class 5, and Madison Rankin from Class 6.
Taking me brush. It's taking me brush. Stand back.
Attention in the barn. They are still available in the back with the backdrop to take pictures. So if you still wanted to take pictures, you still have the opportunity to. For all of our lamb, goat, and pig showmen, they have it set up for y'all right now, but as soon as we finish with the cattle showmanship, they will make the backdrop available for cattle, and you won't be able to take pictures anymore. So if you still wanted to take pictures, if you have your lambs, your goats, or your pigs, please go to the backdrop at this time.
We come out here for our champion exotic steer. Nothing against the lightweight. I think that's a calf that has some genuine muscle and shape there at the top side of his skeleton. I don't know if he's in the same league in just terms of look and body shape and softness as the two heavier weight steers that are in contention. I think both steers are good in terms of their muscle. I'd probably give the edge in just true shape and the natural expression and dimension to the yellow steer that wins the last class. I think that black steer where you start getting over the top of his ribs, maybe just a little bit plainer there in terms of just his mass and squareness compared to the yellow steer behind them. But balance, eye appeal, build, and practicality all head his way. He's still more than heavy enough muscle for me. Love this calf due to his proportions, his balance, his skeleton. I think that's the way we need to go. He's going to go ahead and be our champion. We'll get the second place out here to look for reserve.
Our champion exotic was exhibited by Braden Wolford.
We bring that second place back. It reminds me a lot of the steer he's going up against for reserve, just in terms of his muscle, his upper rib shape, and just kind of his general look and construction. I just think, going back and standing off the cattle, I think the one that comes a little bit neater in terms of his hind leg has some extra shape and dimension to him as well. I'm going to go ahead and use the young lady's heavyweight calf to be reserved. Let's congratulate her.
Our reserve exotic is exhibited by Madison Rankin. Let's give our champion exotics a round of applause. At this time, we need all of our breed champions to please come to the ring at this time. This will also be our first call for cattle showmanship. First call for cattle showmanship. At this time, we would like to thank our grand champion steer buckle sponsor, Bill Zigman, and our reserve champion steer buckle sponsor, Jenske and Wilford families. Thank you. We would also like to again thank our cattle superintendents, David Schick and Barry and Sandra Hefner. Let's give all of them a round of applause. This will be the second call for all cattle showmanship. Second call for cattle showmanship.
Let's give all of our steer shopping a nice round of applause. I know we still got showmanship ahead of us, but before we get into that stuff, I just wanted to thank everybody for having me today. I want to thank you young people for working with me all day throughout all the species, being very humble winners and gracious losers, being respectful towards me. I really appreciate that. That's kudos to everybody behind the scenes working with these young people, making them better, and white people are just going to impact the industry and the world in a better fashion when they get done with this someday. We'll get out that kind of soapbox here and get back to the cattle. I think all of them are good. I think they all got some good deep pieces to them. I think they got some look, they got some muscle. It comes down between two of them for me. I think one of them's maybe a little bit showier in his look and his hair. He's good in his build. He's soft in his structure and his body. And he's got some muscle to go with it. And there's one that I think is just loaded with power and substance, still balances up good and comes with a really big rib cage. Maybe just not as athletic looking at times as the other one we were talking about, but just a big powerhouse out here that I still think does the basics awfully well. I'm going to go look at him one more time. I'll shake the hand of the champion steer. We'll get the reserve in that division out there and get your reserve in that respect in the show. But before I do that, let's give him one last round of applause.
champion steer is exhibited by Bridget Batiste. If we can get Colton Tugwell with his reserve American steer, please come to the ring. Our reserve champion steer is exhibited by Woodward. Congratulations. This will be the last call for all cattle showmanship. Last call for all cattle showmanship. Before we begin cattle showmanship, we'd like to recognize two very special ladies that have been helping us in the ring all day long. We have our two sweethearts for this year. Our senior sweetheart is Mallory Hobbinier, and our junior sweetheart is Leah Latham. Let's give these ladies a round of applause for all their hard work today. At this time, we would like to thank our cattle showmanship sponsors for our buckle, Sanderson's Cattle, Sandy Sanders. Thank you so much. Hey. Following the conclusion of our cattle showmanship, the backdrop will be available for all of our cattle, and then we will start to open up the areas so you can load up all of your animals and all of your belongings. We ask that you do help by picking up all of the trash around you and throwing it in the trash cans. As we close out today, we would like to remind everyone once again of our COVID-19 protocols. Remember, you must have your mask on at all times, covering both your mouth and nose, both inside and outside of the barn. Please remain spread out, being 6 feet away from one another. Please make sure you use our hand sanitizer as much as possible, as there are hand sanitizing stations spread throughout the barn. Entering the ring at this time is the first of our 2 heats, and the top 2 from this heat and the other heat will compete in the final round to see who will win our title Showmanship couple. Let's welcome our round 1 of our first heat.
After doing our final showmanship of the day, we want to thank you on behalf of the ag teachers for being so cooperative and wearing your mask and following the COVID procedures, coming in and working with us on a day where we can enjoy your children and their success. We hope that today was part of their learning process to take what they've learned. It doesn't really matter what any of us say, we judge them, although we do value Mr. Hildebrand. But we want to make sure we're learning something from them. And so that's the important thing. Fair County is next the week after Christmas. Please remember to have everything that you need for those facilities. They are going to let cattle show off the trailer. They will have enough facilities for hogs. They'll have enough facilities for you to go look on their webpage and their Facebook page for the most up-to-date information. You find out about the same time that we find out. So just make sure that you do that. Bring your papers for you to have registered females. So the registered shows. Bring your papers. You've got to have those for those shows. Don't be late. They won't hold classes. Today we held classes a little longer than we probably should have at times. So we wanted to make sure every kid gets that opportunity. When you get to Bear County and you get to San Antonio, they will not be holding your classes for you. You must be on time. So make sure that you have the gear and your kids all ready to go. They will be issuing you wristbands, basically like we have today and yesterday. This is a process that you will also see at San Antonio. So what you've seen is basically what you'll be getting throughout our stock show season that we know of at this point. Again, we want to thank Mr. Hildebrand for coming down from Connor State in Oklahoma. He put in a full day for you. When I first told you he was going to have to classify steers between 6 and 6:30, he was like, oh my goodness, because I'm not going to get in until about 1:30 or 2, and that was about when he got in. So, again, he put in a long day. I appreciate what he's done for our children. He'll be around for just a little bit. If you have a question, we'll try to answer it. He is working with livestockjudging.com on their winter workout. So if you have kids that are interested in doing livestock judging, he just got off their college judging trip for winter workout, and he is helping with the livestockjudging.com judging winter workout, which you can join on that. If you need information on that, again, thank you for everybody and all that you've done. We greatly appreciate all the effort that you've done. A group of supporters from wine group that raised the money for you guys, and doing that, we're really supportive of that. They wanted to do something and not let you walk away without having some money, and they obviously stepped up to the plate to do that. Again, if we did do one of Rosette and we had to give you a small one, we will get those ordered for you. If we missed a cutout, like we did in one of the cattle ones, we'll get that to you. We'll let Mr. Hildebrand know that. After we get done with showmanship, please be careful as the cattle are still out, as you start to load those trailers around. Just be careful as we have kids, as we have pigs, we have goats that might get loose. Drive very carefully as we go through and be careful as we load these animals. If you have any questions, Mr. Kempin's at the gate, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Hildebrand for his choices on the top two.
I'm going to break the rules a little bit and get three to come back, and we'll have the front three people come back for our final drive. Young people that are coming back, I think, do an exceptional job as well. Either the animal wasn't just cooperating pretty perfect, maybe just a bit slower getting them set up, maybe not getting the same amount of attention up front as the other three young exhibitors out front, but a really competitive heat. 6 awesome showmen. It pains me to make a cut, but that's what we got to do. We'll keep these three, dismiss the others. With a great set, let's give them a hand as they exit.
Entering the ring at this time is our Heat 2 of our paddle showmanship.
Mama first. Mama doing? Again.
We get into our final heat, I think it gets a little bit more difficult to find which ones you automatically want to gravitate towards and move on to the next round. Maybe not as deep as that first set, but still a really solid set of showmen. It gets close, but the ones I'm going to keep, the young man with the silver steer is going to come back. I'm going to ask the young man with the red cap to come back as well. I think they're just a little bit more natural in the way they maneuver around their cattle to me. They're a little bit more consistent in terms of the way they set up. Young person that was close to making the cuts, the young lady in the front, just at times got him a little too staggered like that. Sometimes he just didn't, maybe just your position on the cap and the way you do that. I'd like to change just a little bit, but I thought you did an awfully good job and really, really close into making it to the final round. But let's give them a nice round of applause as they exit the ring.
Currently in the ring and those entering the ring are going to be a part of our cattle showmanship finals.
Let's give all of our cattle showmen today a nice big round of applause. You only gotta pick one to win, and it makes it tough, because I think they all do a good job. I think it'd be tougher if I had to go 1 through 5. And so I'll go out and shake the hand of your champion showman here shortly. I think that young person, just to touch on it, appears to be the most natural about what they're doing out here with their calf. I like the way they position their body, how they hold the halter, how they walk the calf into place and get them set up, and they don't mess with them ever again after that. I think they made their animal look the best throughout the direction, not just showmanship, but also all day showing and exhibiting their cattle. So after I get off the microphone, I'll go shake the hand of that young person. Before I do that, again, just thank you for having me. Thank you for all the hospitality and all the nice people here. I really appreciated my time here today working with your young people and going through the livestock. And just remember, guys, if you didn't have a good day today, it's just one guy's opinion on one day. You got bigger and better shows on down the road in terms of county, San Antonio, and other Texas majors. And so you got a bright future ahead of you in terms of places you get to exhibit and show your stock. And I hope you are extremely thankful for that and that it holds up, because it's an opportunity some other kids in parts of the country are not going to be getting this next year. So I hope you don't take it for granted. I hope you thank your parents, your FFA, your 4-H advisors, everybody here that's been helping you within this project. Make sure you give them thanks, because they got you involved in something that's going to make you better people on down the road. I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you for having me. I'm going to go out and shake the hand of your champion cattle show.
Our champion cattle showman is Braden Woodward. Let's give him another round of applause and all of our finalists in the ring. Attention all cattle showmen. They are available at the backdrop for you to take pictures. And we would like to thank you for all coming out and showing today and yesterday. Please help us by throwing away all your trash, and we hope y'all get